There is a character trait that I have found I have in common with Mr. Barack Obama that would have been the secret to my EB1 success. Okay, this is how you know I am delusional because this is how I perceived the podcast episode that I was just watching. It's Michelle Obama's podcast that she hosts with her brother, Craig Robinson, and Barack Obama was a recent host in her podcast. And in that podcast, as Barack Obama is telling this particular story, I will tell you that story. But I was like, I also did that. It's uncannily similar. So let me tell you the story. And also, I will tell you at the very end how that adds up to how I tackled EB1 or honestly anything that I have done in my life. So, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama are talking about different types of parenting skills or parenting styles. And Barack Obama talks about this one incident when where he used to shuttle between Indonesia and Hawaii, and Michelle Obama is breaking into a sweat because Barack Obama is saying that as an 8-year old, he would take these international flights. So there was this one time when Barack Obama was taking such a flight. He was 11 years old and his mom had dropped him off at the airport and had left. Now, Barack Obama is a 10-year-old child. He realizes that his mom had forgotten to give him his passport. A child left alone at the airport without a passport cannot board the plane. What does he do? So he beckons a rickshaw and he asks the rickshawala to take him to his mom's office, where he directs the rickshawala to take him there. And that's where he tells his mom that, hey, you forgot to give me my passport. Here I am. And by the way, you need to pay the rickshawala. And then he concludes this story by saying how that was his first brush of understanding what manhood looked like. And he correlated manhood with figure out ability. He said that as a man, I thought that that's what it took to be a man when I was a child, that whatever it is, I needed to figure it out. Now, I'm not saying that I'm similar to Mr. Barack Obama, although I really do want to at some point meet him and shake his hand, but whatever. But listen to me. I had a similar story when I was also in Montessori in Calcutta. So I remember this is how old I am, because when I was in Montessori school, they used to have these diary entries, and they would write announcements for parents. So they wrote an announcement for parents that instead of a full day of school, we would have a half day of school, and that the bus would leave me at this one bus stop. And the bus stop's name is called Ultadanga. It is very important to the story. So listen up. So I forgot to show that note to my mom. So here I am, a Montessori kid. I don't know, like maybe 5 or 6 years old or whatever, four. I really don't remember. This bus leaves me in Ultadanga. And Ultadanga is a bus stop which is extremely chaotic even back in the day. Now, here I am, a child just stranded on the streets. So I remember tugging on the shirt of this uncle and saying, Uncle, can you please take me home? And I made that guy take a bus from Ultadanga all the way to Lake Town. And then I rose up the steps and I rang the doorbell. And there I was in all my 6-year-old or 5-year-old glory. And my mom was shell shocked. But in hindsight, I think, jokes aside, this skill of figuring it out, figure out ability, no matter how sticky the situation, figuring out a solution, not looking at it as a roadblock and just sitting there and crying like, woe is me. What can you do about it? How can I fix this? What is a work around this? So in terms of EB1, I told you it's a long-winded road, but I will connect it to EB1. In September 2021, after 9 months of following up with my company lawyer, if they have started my EB1 or not, I went from my department chair to the dean, to the assistant dean, to the VP of HR, to then the lawyer, finally to get word from this lawyer that they had not yet started my EB-1 petition because, in her words, Dr. Paul does not have international acclaim. She also does not have 300 citations. Now, remind you, I have already paid everybody, the lawyer, in full. We had started this process and somehow halted it in the beginning of January 2021. So, January 2021 to September 2021, I'm working my ass off without any feedback from anybody, taking my best shot. And in September, I get this bomb dropped on my head that I don't have international acclaim. And I'm like, what does international acclaim even mean? Like, do I go and talk at an international conference? What the hell do I do? So that's when it struck me that, okay, in order to get international acclaim, I probably need folks who are outside of the US to vouch for my competence and my extraordinary ability. So this is what I did. This was also the time that I had completed writing a book and it had been finally published. And the book's name is The Current Collegiate Hiccup Culture. Now, what I did was I reached out to all the professors, not who had cited my work, but whose work I cited, thanking them that, hey, Dr. So and so, your work on such and such really helped me hone in my argument for this book. Just send that email. And I waited for their response. A lot of them responded back saying, I'm so glad to hear that. I said that, hey, if you're open to it, I would love to send you a copy of my book. Would you be willing to review it for me and provide feedback? I did this for 100+ professors. 20 of them, I think 30 of them said yes, and 20 of them said that they would review it. In less than a month and a half, I had 11 reviews from professors in the United States, in the United Kingdom, in South Africa, in Philippines, in the Netherlands, as well as in Vietnam and India, who had reviewed my book and given me an endorsement. That's how I figured out international acclaim in a month and a half. Figureoutability. So if you can take away anything from this long-winded explanation of A, how I'm similar, shockingly, to Barack Obama, and B, how I figured out difficult situations is this. No matter what situation you're going through, no matter if you don't have publications, even though you're a PhD, no matter if you're working in pharma and you cannot release uh, data, you figure it out. You figure it out because EB-1 is not an option anymore, especially if you're Indian born and you want to live in the US and you have children who are aging out or a family to take care of. Being on H-1B is dangerous for the long run. So I hope you take that away from my story, that no matter what, have a mindset of figuring it out. Everything else will fall into place. I hope it helps.